today's tutorial we look at room views within ARutils. The room data and views command in ARutils enables you to very quickly generate room data sheets and room layout sheets. There are many project types that require intense documentation of rooms. Therefore, we have to create plans, reflected ceiling plans, elevations, 3Ds, schedules, all related to a room, and all of those views placed on a sheet. What room data and views does is automates that entire process to make it consistent and repeatable. It takes perhaps 100 steps for each room and reduces it to a single button click. The dialog for the room data sheets command can sometimes look quite daunting, but let's have a quick overview of what the different sections do. Up in this corner we have the section that focuses on creating room data sheets. These are Word documents that list the equipment that is located in a room. These types of sheets are part of the documentation process often used. And this section, which we won't be focusing on today, allows you to create those sheets quickly and easily. The section that we'll be focusing on today is more in regards view creation. So creating our plans, elevations, 3Ds, schedules and sheets. It's worth making the point that the room data and views command attempts to automate and standardize a number of your workflows and processes. It takes away a lot of button clicking. However, it doesn't remove the necessary aspect of you in fact having already well-defined standards in your office. For example, you would want to have view types such as a floor plan type related to room plan views. This will have view templates assigned to it, different categories visible, not visible. So let's have a look at the Plan tab. Obviously, we're able to say we want plans created and we want RCPs created. The option is there for either one. You can also define a plan view template string. This will take parameters from a room and generate a view name. So in this case, it's going to take the number and the name, add a prefix and a suffix, and generate a typical view name. So as the rooms change, of course, the number and name change. Likewise, we can define a sheet name. So this is what Revit has as a parameter for each room, and that's the name that you want to appear as a readable text item on a sheet. We also have the option of doing cropping, and we can, by default, rooms will be rectangular cropped. However, we can shape crop them as well so that we follow exactly the line of the room, or in fact the line of the room plus a distance. So here we'll extend past the wall face by another 600 millimeters. We can make views dependent on a particular view. It's a different process, but it lets all of your room plans be dependent on a major plan. We also have the option of automatically tagging families when we create that plan. So it can tag all of your doors, windows, furniture, specialty equipment at the time of creation of the plan. It adds extra time, but it would have had to be done by a manual process otherwise. So we get to pick our plan view types. So in this case we've got floor plan, and that can have a view template associated with it, various things to ensure that all of our room plans wind up looking the way that we want. Likewise for ceiling plans. The last option we have is to have a border line style if you feel the urge to make things a bit punchier, it basically backlines your plan view. So let's turn off shape cropping. We'll pick a room, G12. It's a nice complex room, as you'll see shortly. And we'll simply say create views. So create views will create it for the room selected here. Alternatively, we can do views for room, and we get to pick a room from the plan that we're currently viewing. So, okay, I've just undone that creation of the room plan. Let's move on to the elevation tab. So we have the option of creating elevations, so we'll tick that. Once again, we can automatically tag families, doors, windows as we create that. We have the option of numbering elevations 1, 2, 3, 4, or adding the north, south, east, west. Whichever one you want is fine. Elevation name and sheet name can once again be defined. We have the option of how far the elevation view actually comes from the wall. I'll go into that once we've created some elevation views. We have the option of extending the elevation. So as with the plan view, we can do an extension of that to show the walls beyond where the actual room exists. We have the option of picking the view type. We have a borderline style again that we can use. And we also have a few other things. So LOH adds a line of height family to the elevation view. This is often useful, and this will use a default family, and that will be incorporated into the view. So I'll just say yes, load that default family. Alright, I also have the option of laying out views in a CSheet formation. If you know what this is, then it's basically great that you know it. If you don't know what it is, you probably won't need to use it. But just imagine a plan with all of the walls folded down flat around that plan. That's what a CSheet is. You also have the option of perhaps adding a fill grid. This could be useful for working out the placement of items without in fact having to put dimensions on. Alternatively, you can also use a grid family. So they're pretty much two aspects of the same thing. So I'll just say 300 at 1 to 50. And so we've now got our plan being created, our elevation being created, and our views will be opened once they're created. So let's just hit create views. And we now get the results of that process. And let's just go to see all those views. So you can see we've had some quite interesting results here. We've asked for that extended crop boundary. We've asked to have a grid added over the top of the rooms, and that's been automatically sized to the room. And we've also had a line of height family added to all those views. So all of that work has been done at the press of a single button. One nice feature of ARutils room data and views that I forgot to mention was that when elevation views are created, they're all offset a distance from the wall face. So in this case, elevation 3 is 900 mil away from that wall. Elevation 4, likewise, and so on round the room. So let's just have a quick look at the 3D creation options within room data and views. So we'll look at a different room for this just to keep things simple. So we'll say create 3D views. You have the option of creating 1 or 2 views. Once again, you can elect to define the name. You can also have a wall thickness allowance. This simply extends the scope box back deeper away from your viewing point so that you get to see the back walls and a bit of the floor. Likewise, you can pick your 3D view type. So we'll pick the blue room in this case, and we'll just say create views. And you can see in this view that we've got the 3D view has been section boxed and crop boxed. We've got the rear walls appearing and the front walls have been cropped out. You can see here that we've cropped so closely that in fact we still get the door frame showing. If we do a window tile, zoom all, you'll see that we have both views looking this way and that way, so we get a much better idea of what's happening in that room. Room data and views also lets you create scheduled views of your rooms. So this takes Revit schedules and will generate those schedules for each room. So one of the things that you need to have in place is a schedule view that has template as part of its name. We'll just have a quick look at the RDS-template. So here we have a RDS template. It's got whatever fields we want. It's got sorting and grouping. It's got formatting and appearance, the usual things. The critical thing is that we have a filter applied, and that simply says room number equals and whatever value you like. So this will get updated and changed as we do it for each room. So we would simply go to room data and views. We'd say create schedules, and we'll say we want that one. If there were more views with template as part of their name, we could in fact have all of those ticked and it would create templates for all of those. So we'll just say create views. Okay, it's created this schedule. Okay, and we now go to this schedule view. It's got information, and if we look at the filter, we'll see that it has number equals G02. So you can define your schedules any way you like, and this filter will get updated in all of them. Now, you may be wondering about how you can ensure that all of them have the right size columns when they appear on a sheet. So if we create a new sheet, whatever size, we can drag our template schedule onto a sheet. So this is just a dummy sheet, and we can rearrange the size of all of these to be just the way that we want. And when those schedules are created, they will all be set up to match this size. You can in fact even change your mind at a later time, change the layout of the template and get ARutils to regenerate those schedules. A real time saver where you've got schedules created for each and every room. Okay, the last thing we need to look at is the Sheet tab. So if we tick Create Sheet, now we have a couple of layout options of the views. By default, elevations are placed first, then a plan underneath them. If you want, you can tick Plan first. We can decide how we want our sheets named, once again based on the room name. We can have a numbering template. So If all of our room data sheets perhaps were in the GA 700 range, we could have that as our template here, and it will just get incremented automatically. We pick our title block, our viewport labels, and if we want to, we can have a sheet template. I won't go into that one at this point, but it allows you to have a template sheet where all your views are laid out in a particular order, and ARutils will try and place them identically. It's probably best just to use the built-in layouts. Note also that if we've had the CSheet option ticked when we're creating elevations, the elevation views and the plan will be laid out in a CSheet formation. So let's just simply hit create views. And at this point, our elevations, our 3Ds, our schedules are being created, and you can see we get some information about what's been done, just to give us some positive feedback. And if we then go to the final view, you'll see here that our schedule has started to overlap our 3D views, so some cleanup in this case is required. We may just like to try and run the CSheet layout. So we'll go here, tick CSheet, and hit create views. And we do have a little progress bar indicating where we're up to. And once again, we get our final output, and here you can see that our rooms are laid out with CSheets around. There is some difficulty in actually determining exactly where this final south view goes, so you may need to do some manual cleanup of that. Well, I hope that gives you some ideas for easily creating views. Room data and views really does make this whole process much easier. Not 100% complete, but certainly much better off than you would be otherwise. Thank you again.